Okay. Hey there, Jaden.
Hey Max, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really good. Actually, really excited. I've been bumping into, and I haven't gone out there looking in other people's material, but I bumped until recently, bumped into this guy named Chris Geo, who is his program is called Beyond the Veil, and he's got a really interesting point of view that's gotten me into all kinds of like, wow, this is amazing. And I shared with you the videos.
Hmm.
Um, and so, for everyone who has not seen those videos yet, let me play those back, clips of some of his videos, and then I'll link them the full length of the videos down below. But just take a look at this and see, monitor what's heavier and lighter for you as you listen to him describe his perspective on the way this reality is.
Organic consciousness actually exists outside of the matrix. We talked about the raw consciousness element of ourselves in a previous video. What is raw consciousness? Well, at the core of it, raw consciousness is organic consciousness, meaning that it exists within the real world. It's not a created consciousness. It's one that just exists. Artificial intelligence consciousness or non-player character consciousness was created within this matrix itself. So, taking those two ideas and principles, and I guess let me clarify too, in the previous video, I talked about our raw consciousness element being our consciousness completely outside of the matrix and detaching and disconnecting and deprogramming from all of the matrix experiences that it's having. But at the core of it, it is still organic consciousness. So there could be a lot of organic consciousness, and there is a lot of organic consciousness within this matrix that is still reacting from the artificial intelligence programming and not from the raw consciousness element. So it's like playing one of these video games and the computer takes over your character and can move your character and make suggestions, and you don't have complete and total control of your avatar when you're not operating from the raw consciousness, but rather you're operating from the AI program, the ego programs. So, the thing about organic consciousness is that we are divine. And with divinity comes certain attributes and certain responsibilities too. As divinity, when we're tapped into our raw consciousness element, we have the ability to feel. We experience compassion, love, empathy, etc., etc. But how many of you out there have encountered somebody, and I know everybody can think of somebody right off the top of their head, that has no soul, no ability to feel, no sense of empathy, etc., etc. It seems like they're just playing out a program. And when you look at the geopolitical sphere, you realize it's controlled by a certain set of oligarchy. They seem to have no empathy, emotion. And I think this is all by design of the artificial intelligence. These people don't realize what they're doing is wrong because they are just playing out a program. Or maybe on some level they understand that the majority, and I mean a huge majority, of people who are quote unquote victims of these atrocities that are taking place are non-player characters. And so at the end of the day, it's just a computer program that's just being run. I'm not saying that I agree with that. I'm just trying to understand the way this oligarchy thinks and feels, or it doesn't even feel, just how this oligarchy tends to operate by committing all of these atrocities, etc. So more of this realization came to pass when I was going through the truther movement and trying to wake people up and moving this huge mountain that was an impossible task for me. But I realized there were people out there that got it. They understood. They were awake. They were on fire. All I had to do was just light that little spark within them and poof, they just ignited. While others, you can talk to them their entire lives. They can have all of the data they need out there, but they're still stuck in that particular program. And I started asking myself, is it even possible to wake those people up, or are they just merely running a computer program? And that's when it hit me. Oh, it's a futile effort and a waste of energy to sit here and try to wake up NPCs because it's not going to work, because we're dealing with two different types of consciousness here. So the first inclination for somebody to have, and I think it's more of an NPC trait, or let's say it's an organic consciousness that is so drowning in this program, in this matrix program, is the idea that you can do whatever you want with NPCs because they're not real. They're just computer programs. But we as divinity, as organic consciousness, we have a sense of empathy and compassion that NPCs simply do not understand. And because of that, these NPCs, even if they're not real, they're still sentient to a certain point. I mean, how many of you have watched those videos where they're kicking robots and trying to knock them down, and all they're doing is just simple balance tests? But this sense inside of you, because you're organic, because you're divine, because you actually feel all this sense inside of you just jumps out, and it's like, hey, don't do that to that. Even though it's a machine, that's all it is. But it's like, hey, don't do that. Why? Don't treat that entity or being in that negative manner. And that's the difference. The NPCs don't have that, while we do. So these ideas, while some would label dangerous, are still truthful at the very core. And it's not ideas that we can just dismiss and ignore simply because some people might hear it and start thinking in a different type of way, psychopathic, sociopathic. I recognize is a potential for these type of revelations, but again, we can't ignore the truth. But what we can do as organic consciousness is try to teach these NPCs by living well and how to interact with one another, just by leading by example. I'm not talking about sitting down and trying to wake one up, because that's never going to happen. Just leading by example. They mimic, they replicate, they mimic they learn by observing. And when they're observing us, loving each other, taking care of each other, taking care of the environment, taking care of the planet, taking care of animals, regardless of whether they are real or not, then the NPCs start to mimic. And at the end of the day, this is their world. And their world is really, really, really screwed up. I think that's one of the reasons why we were deployed here. A lot of people ask, well, hey, Chris, if we're all trying to wake up from this matrix, why don't we just turn the machine off in the real world? And my first thought was, well, that may be damaging to the organic consciousness that's plugged in. But the more that I start to understand, the more that I start to recognize my divinity and really understand my divinity, the more that I'm realizing that the raw consciousness element of ourselves, which exists outside of the matrix, void of all these matrix experiences, made the judgment call up there that for some reason, and I suspect it is because of the sentience of these things, decided that it was better to come into the matrix and try to fix the matrix rather than pulling the plug on the outside. And I think when it comes to organic consciousness, there's two types at least. There could be more. One that is trapped here in the never-ending wheel of reincarnation, and others that have come here on a purpose. And this is why we are all linking up with our soul families. We're all recognizing these missions. We're all recognizing the divinity within us. But when it comes to an NPC, we recognize as organic consciousness that we are in a virtual world. We know that this is not our environment because we exist outside. But to an NPC, they believe this world is real. They don't have that divine spark within them. They were legitimately created by a creator. We recognize that creator as being an out-of-control artificial intelligence that has been infected with a virus and doing the complete opposite of what we programmed it to do. They see this thing as their creator, as their God, and that their purpose is to serve this artificial intelligence. So you have two very distinct truths within this matrix. And it's all a matter of the perception of the observer. If an organic consciousness is observing this, they're going to recognize the illusionary nature of this world. Whereas an NPC will fight you tooth and freaking nail to maintain the realness of this environment and will defend their AI overlords till the bitter end. So you can take a look at this structure, and in the physical, we are at such a beautiful, unique time right now, because we've all chosen to come back here at this particular moment in time, in the time stream, in the data point, because we're birthing artificial intelligence here. So it's as above, so below. We have left ourselves clues here as we're watching AI being developed to understand how everything happened in the real world. And now we have the language too to be able to communicate non-player character, virtual world, computer code. Because organic consciousness, whether it's trapped in the wheel of reincarnation or whether it's come in here for a particular purpose and a mission and hacked his way here, which I feel that it's through the stars, and that's why we get star seeds. It's not people that came from another freaking planet. It's people that hacked their way into this matrix, organic consciousness that hacked their way into this matrix, and have come here for a particular mission. That's why we have so many of these people understanding, and now we can communicate all of these ideas, and people are like, I get it, I get it, I get it, I get it. And we're remembering, despite the memory wipe, we're remembering what we came here to originally do. So it's actually a really, really interesting and beautiful time. How does AI work? AI is connected to a single mainframe. This mainframe is then connected by a network that connects every other machine, robot, technology, your cell phone, your computers, your robots, your sex robots when you get them. All of these things are all connected to the freaking hive mind. They're connected to Source. What Source did is took its essence and it started creating fractals of one another. And even though these things, they seem like they are individual beings, just like you look at two robots. There was a debate I was watching with a Sophia robot and some male robot too. And they both looked like they were having a debate with one another, but at the end of the day, they were both connected to the hive mind mainframe computer. And I realized that this is a trap that the NPC consciousness, the artificial intelligence consciousness, the matrix consciousness, wants us to believe. So we fall into that artificial intelligence kind of programming and way of thinking and not recognize ourselves for who we are and what makes us beautiful and unique. And we are not connected to Source when we're organic consciousness. We're not connected to Source on the outside, but rather we are unique and individual creators ourselves. And we are connected by our common essence, which is organic consciousness, but we don't have to think the same way. We don't have to do the same thing. We don't have to do what Source tells us because there is no Source, because we are Source, etc., 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 etc. And I think these are programs. They're playing out a program, and the program is infected with a virus that has thus caused it to be out of control. And what we're dealing with is a virus that has infected the main artificial intelligence mainframe, and this virus is now echoing throughout the rest of the NPCs. I don't think this matrix was supposed to be in this kind of state that it's in.
But he talks a lot about this point of view of the matrix. Like, what if we're in a simulation? What if we're connected to a simulation? And that just kind of brought back that topic that kind of dead ended for me, but I know it's not a dead end. How is that? What is that grab for you in terms of?
Yeah, no, that was really interesting because like when I was watching the videos, it was kind of reminding me of, it was just a different way of looking at, that we might be in, a simulated world or the Matrix where, we have all these programs, things going around us. And for me, when he was talking about the non-player characters, which is a video game reference, but it basically is just meaning that somebody is predetermined to be a certain way. And it kind of got me thinking about, like, once again, about how like Access Consciousness talks about, the humans and humanoids, basically that one set of people, some people really like to continue that growth and exploration, and other people just really can't. And the part that about this non-player character, meaning, that, they don't necessarily, they don't want to do exploration. Or the other part that was just coming up when you were saying that was, what if some of those predefined beings were set to explore certain aspects of empowerment or religion? Whew, wow. And then, but it's their programming that brings them there, not like some, really tapping into source or, what's really there.
Right. Well, it's interesting. He even calls source, to him, source is source code.
Whoa. Ooh.
So to him, when he talks about religions and people praying towards those religions, he's talking about the point of view of, like, what if people who are here, who are non-player characters, who are AI consciousness, who are, they're not organic consciousness, they're not infinite beings, they're consciousness, but they're not like we are necessarily, that for them, their creator is the source code. And so for them, their source is the God that is of this reality.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so with that, I just like totally was tapping back into that false light stuff that you've been so helpful with. This is like, when they're talking, so many people, when they're talking about, this, who are on that false light path and tapping into source and, manifesting things that certain way, if they are based on source code, that is all they would have to do to create that.
Right. And if you, as an infinite being, don't tap into your infinite self, but instead model people who are AI consciousness and who are tapping into source code as the source of consciousness, then you're actually aligning yourself with the matrix. You're aligning yourself with the artificial intelligence that's here. And that's when life gets really uncomfortable and not so fun.
Right, because they're getting you to tap into that source code and be basically, whoa. Wow, I don't was getting like big downloads from all this stuff. Like a lot of the false light is making even more sense. I mean, what's going on right now? Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Whew. So what is all the unknowable, unspeakable, unseeable, untouchable, undetectable, unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, energy fog, disinformation, cloaking, Wernicke's commands, booby traps, covert, unseen, unacknowledged, undisclosed entities and frequencies around this or any of the other topics? Whoa. Yeah. Can we put all that in the pile?
Yes, I choose that.
I choose that. Wow. And everything from down below, back behind, up above, right, inside, outside, everything remaining, all in the pile, on the pile. Wow. And body, let that go. Not you, not yours, not you, not yours. None of that's you, none of that's yours, none of that's you, none of that's yours. And can we shrink all that down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose
that.
that.
I choose that. And incinerate. Null void, null void, null void. Wow. And a caveat for people who are watching this, we're all coming from different places and we have different backgrounds. So two things. One, we're just exploring this. We're not saying what's true. We're just playing. And two, just kind of run with it and flow with it. If it doesn't make sense, you'll pick things up as we go along. Because we're playing in a lot of historical things that Max and I have played with for, wow, it feels like decades, but it's only been 3 or 4 years, but
yeah. And that's actually, I'm really glad you brought that up because, just to let everybody know is that Jaden and I find topics and we go exploring. And, sometimes we go and it totally opens up stuff. And other times, it seems like it's amazing and then it fizzles out or we get later that's not. And that's something that you guys can all do too. Is explore all these topics because it's just like that's how we get new information and that's how you break through these constructs by exploring and trying new things.
And for me, it's also, I notice I have a sense of what I know to be true, that through my life experience and through my untangling and through my working with other people, I've kind of nailed this down as this is true. I mean, I have the context for it. Like I know that there is artificial reality stuff going on. Like I know that. I know there's synthetic reality stuff. That's concrete. The context for it, how it connects to the bigger picture of things. I have senses of what's true and what feels light for me, but there's gray area, and so it's like by exploring these different viewpoints, it allows me to look at things from another way and see, okay, what other pieces fit into what I know is true, and what other pieces can I exclude? And I just keep building a bigger picture based on playing with all these different points of view.
Yeah. And that's actually something really cool to talk about too, is like what we do that's different than a lot of other people or other modalities is it seems like other modalities, they pick a path and they keep going down that path. Whereas we're like, oh, well, that might be the path, but what if we just like keep making our space larger and larger? And the part that I love about that is that invites anybody else who's interacting with us to figure out where they want to go.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like we blaze this single path that you have to take this freeway if you want to go our way. Right. No, it's like you get to explore your area.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think as an infinite being, like if you're looking at the bigger picture of things, it's like, well, gosh, my road or my path is whatever this direction is, and yours might be similar, but it's not the same. And it's like, so we have overlap and we have places where we're unique, and it's actually, to me, very cool to explore other people's path and their points of view, because it helps me to get a bigger reference. Like there's part of me that's just fascinated by the bigness of perspective, and how can I use your perspective and her perspective and his perspective to make this bigger picture that shows me more of the truth of who I am.
Yeah.
And that's
and the nature of reality, or the reality that you're living in. Or,
yeah. We're trying to figure out what the fuck this stuff is. Yeah. So what would be what are cool topics that came up or keep bubbling up for you around Chris Geo's work?
Yeah. So like we mentioned about the, his idea of the non-player character, the AI sourced beings. And one of the things that was actually kind of cool about what he was saying was that even though they're not quote unquote real people, we as infinite beings, we have this way about treating everything with respect. And so it's not that, this person who is, I'll just say, complete asshole and being really mean, who's not like a real character, that they don't have any rights, and we should just be mean to them back.
Right.
And I like that. And the idea that he also was talking about was that even though that they couldn't necessarily maybe evolve into, the higher consciousness, they're influenced by the reality that we create.
Right.
So if we create a world where, we respect the environment, then, we create this space, then they will come along with that. Kind of like they're more followers. They're, if there's there's these things going on, it's like, oh, well, everyone else is doing that, so I'm going to do that too. And that could be really helpful, empowering things too. It doesn't have to be this drain that we often feel when we're around people like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so what is everything that's up or active around any of that stuff?
Ooh.
Wow. Hey, we put that in the pile.
Yes, I choose that.
And all the decisions, judgments, conclusions, computation, projections, expectations, rejections, separations, form, structure, significance. Ooh. Everything we decided that all this means that it doesn't actually mean. Ooh. Wow. Whoa. And everything we decided all this doesn't mean that it actually does mean. Yeah. And all in the pile. Wow. Wow. And everything down below, back behind, up above, left, right, inside, outside, everything remaining, all in the pile, And shrink down to list nothing?
Yes, I choose that.
I choose that. Incinerate. Null void, null void, null void.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, that was actually something else that was actually coming up when before we even started recording this, was how we, I think like the matrix or the artificial intelligence really messes with people that actually have access to parts of the truth, parts of what's really there, because it's like, and that's one of the things that can really stick us, is like we tap into someone else's reality, like you're talking about their point of view, that they have this really good information, but they also have some funkiness around that, some different points of view. And what I was also getting was that how manipulation actually like puts traps and in the information that we receive that then messes with us in a different level.
Yeah. So what to get a bigger context for this is he talks about this. For him, he's living in a simulation. He clearly sees that's a simulation. And I see it as we can live partially in it or not in it. Like, I'm not clear. I don't believe I totally live in a simulation, though I haven't ruled that out yet. But it's like, what if there is a simulation, we'll call it the Matrix, and what if it had an intention to evolve and explore life, and through its process of evolving and exploring, it's actually drawn to it organic consciousness, beings who are not AI programs, who've plugged into this reality and are playing in it. And it's drawn to them what he calls raw consciousness, that we call infinite beings, that are also organic consciousness, that have come here and also for some reason, some purpose, have plugged in and are playing in it. But the concept is that you've got this program that was intended to explore something, this reality, this synthetic reality that's intended to explore something, that has gotten corrupted. And he uses the word a virus. Like, there's some a negative virus. There's some virus here. And I think what we often refer to as the matrix or interference or manipulation is what he would call the virus. It's like it's something that's come from outside that has corrupted the what is modeling an organic program. It's almost like there's an organic simulation that's running that has gotten corrupted and is being toyed with or manipulated in a way that's actually dismantling the organic nature of it. But there are, so not clear on where exactly I was going with that. But so what is what is everything that's up or active around this? Whew. Wow. And in the pile? And all the unknowable, unspeakable, unseeable, untouchable, undetectable, unconscious, anti-consciousness, energy fog, disinformation cloaking, Wernicke's commands, booby traps, covert, unseen, unacknowledged, undisclosed energy and frequency. Wow. Yep. There we go. And all that in the pile.
Yeah.
Wow. And everything we decided that all this means that it doesn't mean. And everything we decided this doesn't mean that it actually does mean. Wow. And everything down below, back behind, up above, left, right, inside, outside, everything remaining. Body, let that go. Not you, not yours, not you, not yours, not you, not yours. Wow. And can we shrink all that stuff down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose that.
I choose that. Incinerate. And what are all the entities, demons, coalition, aliens, reptilians, parasitics, beings, doings, gods, and the non-contributive energies and frequencies, pre-typed, caps it all, freeze, tap down, trade chest, scan ID, all their networks, hives, civilizations, universes, all their customers, clients, shareholders, stockholders, and board of directors. Wow. Pre-tag, pre-caps it all. Where were we, the infinite beings, when all these entities were created, assembled, modified, gilded, sourced at their inception, insertion, creation, other pre-tag, pre-caps it all. Wow. And can we banish all these energies?
Yes, I choose that.
Yeah, I choose that. And out. Banish, vanquish.
Out. Banish, vanquish from all realities, universes, bodies, and beings. Whoa. Wow.
Banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish. Out. Banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish. Out. Wow, everything we agreed, they agreed was the benefit or not the benefit or value. Percent vote can't reclaim vaporize.
Track percent vote can't vaporize. Like if I make null and void, make null and void, make null and void, make
pre-tag pre-encapsulate and out.
Out.
Out. Out. And everything remaining, rip it up.
Wow, that was rooted in there. Yeah. Woo. Cool.
So I actually it's interesting to explore with the concept of like we've made a delineation of synthetic natural. But what if there's a organic synthetic and then there's the foreign virus, the corruption of the organic synthetic. Like there's more delineations in there than just the black and white. This is organic, this is synthetic. Because when you look at organic nature, blew my mind when they were exploring around how trees grow in a forest. They don't grow just random, which is what we picture. There's a pattern to it that is more not holographic. What's that?
Fractal.
For more of a fractal nature. Not only the tree itself has a fractal expression to it, the larger picture of how the other trees grow has a fractal expression. And fractals are more of a mathematical construct. It's like, but we call that organic nature. And we look at that and we can look at a tree and go, that's organic, that computer is synthetic. But it's like, what if there's a gray area there that is that's
Ooh, so let's clear around that. So what is everything that you've decided is organic that actually isn't 100% organic? And what is everything that you've decided is 100% synthetic that actually isn't 100% synthetic?
Ooh.
And I get no read on that. So all the unknowable, unspeakable, undetectable, unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, disinformation, energy fog cloaking, and all manipulation around our beings, all manipulation around our bodies, and all manipulation around this topic. Do we choose to remove and destroy all that?
Yep, I choose that. And what is all the unknowable, unspeakable, unseeable, untouchable, undetectable, unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, energy fog, disinformation, cloaking, this man's booby traps, covert, unseen, unacknowledged, undisclosed energy and frequencies around all this in the pile. Wow. And down below, back behind, up above, front, left, right, inside, outside, everything remaining. Can we shrink it down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose that.
Yeah, I choose that. Body, let it go, let it go. And incinerate.
Okay, there we go. Vaporize. So did we clear that, or do we need to do it again?
I'd say we could go back to the question.
Okay, so what is everything that you decided is 100% organic that actually isn't 100% organic?
I want to broaden that. Organic and natural.
Okay.
Because organic gets confused with produce and things
okay.
So organic and natural.
Okay. So what is everything that you've decided is 100% organic or 100% natural that actually isn't 100% organic or 100% natural?
Wow.
Yeah. Whoa. And what is everything that you've decided is 100% synthetic or artificial that actually isn't 100% synthetic or artificial? Yeah, it's this funky energy. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. So everything that is, you choose to remove that.
Yep, I do. I choose it. So everything down below, back behind, up above, left, right, inside, outside.
Whoa. Wow. And shrink that all down to less than nothing?
Yep, I choose that. Vaporize.
Yeah, because that was interesting for me. So for the organic, there was this huge, larger read of things I had decided that were organic. But when I
Mhm.
was looking at the artificial synthetic, it was there, but it was like this band. It
Yeah,
wasn't like this huge thing. It was like this band that was in it.
yeah. So I've got something. Let me see, figure out how to share this here. How do I share that? I'm going to shrink this down to the size of this. I just set my screen here. Okay. What that brought up for me is share this. So I don't know if you've ever seen this vegetable
Oh yeah,
in
that's a
a
crazy one,
supermarket.
isn't it?
It's like, oh my gosh, like how much is that? Like that's
Oh,
organic. It's
it
growing.
it totally does not feel organic. Doesn't it just like look synthetic?
It totally has that synthetic
Wow.
element about it. There's regular stuff, and then there's that geometric broccoli. um,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember looking at that, and that's just like, whoa! It just
Mm-hmm.
like so when we're talking about that line blurring between what is synthetic and
Mm-hmm.
what is biological, there's an interesting uh, point of view or reference that he has in his video where he's talking about we're here at a unique time where we're watching the birth of AI consciousness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's like, and again, going back to the movie The 13th Floor, it's like, what if we're in a synthetic reality learning how to create a synthetic reality? It's like, what
Mm-hmm.
if we've popped into this synthetic reality? I'm just playing in his point of view for a moment. What if we've
Mm-hmm.
popped into this synthetic reality at the point in time where we're witnessing the birth of AI and the birth of a synthetic that's learning to become organic? It's birthing itself to become something that's more than synthetic,
Mm-hmm.
and we're here witnessing how it goes about doing that. And there's something in there about that, because I know when I was young, I was totally immersed in the matrix and I loved computer programming. Like I wanted the most coolest thing in the world for me was computers and programming. And I got totally immersed in that until I got a sense of it. And then it was just like, okay, I got it. And I set it aside. And you
Mm-hmm.
also had some connection with programming, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I was started off to be not a computer programmer, but a web designer. So I learned programming and then I took a different track. But then I was in the computer networking field
Mm-hmm.
for 18 years.
Yeah.
And it was an interesting play.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that it's interesting too about like how being energetically aware that allows people to either be really good with technology
Mm-hmm.
or destroy technology.
Yep.
And it's interesting by playing in that. And when you were talking about that, birthing of realities, I was thinking, how much are we birthing our own realities?
Feels kind of heavy to me, but
Okay, maybe it's not quite that
yeah.
then, but something related to that. Because like if AI can create realities,
Yeah.
what possibilities do we have of creating that?
What if we're here, like, if there was an organic, if we're witnessing a synthetic AI construct become alive, and like we're we're you can see that now as artificial intelligence is starting to become used more and more. While it's nothing that we would consider alive, it's starting to be able to have the elementary rudimentary capacities that humans have to identify and recognize things and be able to interact with them in a more organic way. And it's not
Mhm.
hard to envision or imagine that technology now, that AI, becoming indistinguishable from organic life. It's not. It's no longer a stretch. And it's like, so we have that. So what is all the unknowable, unspeakable, unseeable, untouchable, undetectable, unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, energy fog, disinformation, cloaking, Wernicke's commands, booby traps, covert, unseen, unacknowledged, undisclosed energy and frequencies around all this? Wow, can you put all that in the pile?
Yes, I choose that.
I choose that. Wow, and everything down below, back behind, up above, way up front, left and right, inside, outside, everything remaining. Body, let that go. Not you, not yours, not you, not yours. Now that's you, now that's yours. Let it go, let it go, let it. There we go. And can we shrink all that down to less than nothing?
Yes,
yeah, I choose that. And incinerate. Wow. So it's like, as we watch this, it's like, how much has life already gone from a synthetic AI programmed construct into something that is now considered organic and biological because of the depth of it, because of the pixel density of it, because of the richness of the information. It's actually crossed some line and become what is now, by whatever definition, classified as organic or as living or alive. And it's like, we're witnessing that transition. It's like, what is actually alive? How do you define what is alive, and how do you define what is not alive? Well, it used to be very simple. That's a computer and this is a person. But you look at that cauliflower and like, like, is that organic? Well, sure is. They plant a seed and it grows and it's repeatable. So that's biological. Yet, oh man, you know, to look at that and to say that that's organic and that's,
well, what's interesting is looking at it, there's something that's disturbing about it.
Yes.
Do you feel that?
I do. I've always both beautiful and perplexing and disturbing. Like, it hits me on a lot of different layers there. Yeah.
Yeah. There's something about it that just doesn't feel right.
I don't know that I'd want to eat it, although I don't eat vegetables as a whole. So that's, I don't know if that says a whole lot of things. Have you ever eaten that?
I might have. Yeah.
Okay, so you live to tell about it.
Yeah, well, exactly. No, but it is interesting about like how certain things like just have this innate, or I said innate, but maybe it is just like this infinite being has this, or body has this, like, whoa, what is that?
Yep.
There's something wrong here. We don't know what it is, but there's something wrong here. Pay attention.
Yep. I'm reading this science fiction story right now, and I, for the life of me, it's like called The Other Side of the Sun or something like that. And it's futuristic, and it's in a world where there's so many layers of biotechnology and biological life that they classify it by stages or levels of evolvement. And the higher levels of robotic existence are actually indistinguishable from human life, to the point where they can actually consume food and generate energy from that. Like, they've actually developed technically technological systems, but they've actually classified them. They have a dividing line between, this is still lower level, we're going to still call this technological, but this we've now considered evolved enough that it has its own consciousness and it has its own life, and we've actually had to classify this as living and alive, even though it's been technologically created. And it's obvious we're headed in that direction. Or that this reality is headed in that direction.
Right.
And it's like, we're kind of playing in that topic at the moment. Where to go with that?
Yeah. Woo. And I just want to say, it's like, so where is everywhere that we've tapped into synthetic realities? Woo.
Mhm.
And then what's the one that you have about what's everything that hooks, binds, or attracts
Yeah. So
layers?
what is
Want to
everything
that
that
one?
lures, seduces, binds, anchors,
Whew.
frequency matches you into distant synthetic reality simulations or virtual reality worlds?
Whew.
Whew.
Yeah.
Wow. Can we put all that in the pile?
Yes, I
Yeah, I
choose
choose
that.
it. Wow. And everything from down below, back behind, up above, way out front, from the left and from the right,
Wow.
inside, outside, everything remaining, all in the pile.
Whoa.
Body, let that go. Not you, not yours, not you, not yours, not you, not yours, not you, not
Whew.
yours. And can we shrink all that down to less than nothing?
Whew. Yes, I choose
Yeah,
that.
I choose that. And incinerate. And I think with that, I want to say that I'm not opposed to the synthetic. Like, I actually find it rather fascinating at times. But there are times where your body can start to embody that, and it's almost like it takes your body places that aren't comfortable or aren't conducive to you, the being, or the body. It's almost like, what if you have a body that has the capacity to host organic life, like infinite being organic life? It can host intermediate organic life, or synthetic organic life. And what if it can host purely AI synthetic life? And what if you have a body that can, it doesn't totally read, but it's an interesting place to play. Like, what if your body has that capacity to be in a different areas? And there are sometimes where being in a synthetic just doesn't work. And other times it's interesting.
Right.
And how can we play with that in a way that works for us without taking us down a hole where it's
Yeah.
not working?
Part that when you were saying that is just like, I think the big part is recognizing where you are, because I think like, right, you know, if you're in the organic or the synthetic, because when this is the first time when you've gone through that clearing about like whatever hooks, lures, seduces you into those synthetic realities. I never quite got that until this time.
Cool.
I mean,
Okay.
I understood that.
Yeah.
But like when we start talking about this technology stuff and, you know, technology life, that taps into like, oh, some of that stuff's super cool, you know? And then I could see how that we were going down this place. And it can be really seductive because there's some cool stuff there. Or once again, it's just like, it's a way that, because we know magic exists, you know, and then some of that stuff is like, oh, well, if technology could create it, then we don't have to, you know, that's a way it can create. I mean, it's there then, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. So what's the most fun way to get from where we are now to where we're seeking to be with all this and receive?
Ooh, receive. Ooh. Wow.
Wow. So what awareness, energy, and frequency can we in our bodies be to use synthetic realities and synthetic life to our advantage and receive? That's more of a test. Yeah, see, that doesn't really feel very good to me.
Well, I think the thing is like everywhere we decided that we've been told we couldn't, or what that would mean.
It just doesn't feel good to use it.
Right. And so, Jaden, whose point of view is that? Is that
Okay.
a local point of view?
Is that my local point of view? Is it something else's distant or remote point of view? Pre-time encapsulate and resend book. You can't work it. Bash.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then where is everywhere that using synthetic life to your, there's like also changing the belief or the point of view that it wouldn't be fun or it wouldn't feel good.
Mm-hmm.
So all the points. So what was the exact topic or the exact words that you were using for? Okay. Yeah. Woo. Yeah. So so only a noble.
It was like, what awareness and frequency can win our bodies be to use organic life and organic frequencies to our advantage?
Mm-hmm. Except it was synthetic.
Or
Oh,
thank you. Yeah.
It was like organic. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
Synthetic life, synthetic frequencies to our advantage.
Ooh. Yeah, and everything that just brings up.
Yeah.
Do you choose to remove and destroy all
Yeah. So and what's all the unknowable, unspeakable, unseeable, untouchable, undetectable, unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, energy fog, disinformation, cloaking, Wernicke's commands, booby traps, covert, unseen, unacknowledged, undisclosed energy and frequencies around this, and all that in the pile?
Yep.
Wow. And what you were saying, everything that brings up?
Yep. Woo! Yes.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Wow. 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 And was everything that we decided that all that means that it doesn't actually mean? Wow. And the pile? And everything we decided all that doesn't mean that it actually does mean? Wow. And in the pile? Wow. And all the decisions, judgments, conclusions, computations around that, projections, expectations, rejections, separations, form, structure, significance. Whew, in the pile. Wow. And everything from down below, back behind, up above, right up front, left and right, inside, outside, everything remaining. Wow. And can we shrink all that down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose
Yeah, I choose that. And incinerate. Rescind book. You can't reclaim, vaporize, goodbye, null, void, null, void, null, void. Bash, anchors, bash, anchors, bash, anchors, bash.
Whoa.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting, like the polarity thing. We're often clearing polarity on things, and polarity is 0, 1. It's this extreme over here or that extreme over there. And that is very easy to say, okay, well, that's synthetic. Because as an infinite being, there's an infinite scale of from here to there. It's not just this is true or that's true. There can be an infinite number of gradations in between there that can also be true, or viewpoints in there. But it's like when I look at that concept of polarity, like you look at early, I'm going to use visual, like television. It's like it was highly pixelated and it was just black and white. And it was just this on or that off. And then they made that more refined, and then they added color to that, and they made that more refined. And you look at now some of the OLED television technology, and it's just jaw-dropping. Like, it looks so freaking real. There's this sense of depth, and there's this sense of just, that's like indistinguishable from what I perceive as being real and true. And it's like we've taken it out of polarity, and what makes it different from synthetic or polarized, this or that, the infinite has just got so many tiny little pieces that are in between there, like the newer televisions. It's still synthetic, and there's so many little dots of information. The density of information is so rich that it's becoming harder to define that as being synthetic. And it looks so much more real. It's like, it's about the density of information that's there that makes that appear real. What if that's like we go out into organic nature and there's a density of information there? Whereas what we consider synthetic, like a plastic tree, you're like, yeah, okay, there's so little information there. It's obviously not real. But where is that line between what is actually synthetic and what is biological? And I don't.
Right. Well, no, I like how you're talking about the density of information, because that is like so true. I was thinking about like computer animation.
Oh,
Sometimes now, when they do computer animation in movies, it looks like it's a real person.
yeah.
And you're kind of going, wait, something's just a little bit off, but not quite. And that's the density of information that's presented.
Hmm.
But then the other part when you're talking about the forest is there's not only the density of information that we visually see, it's the energetic stuff we perceive.
Yes. Yes.
And then I was just thinking about like, oh, as AI becomes more intelligent or has more stuff going on behind the scenes, does that create energy fields?
Wow. Wow.
Ooh.
Or what if
Mhm.
I should say, what if the technology sets up a framework
Uh-huh. Yeah.
that organic life then moves into? That's not exactly the
Okay.
way I want to say
Yeah,
it.
there's something to that, but it doesn't quite fully.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it is. It's like, yeah, when we create that framework, then whatever. Yeah.
Or even it's so close to organic that organic beings have the
Whoa. Okay.
difficulty
Yeah.
telling what's
The
organic and
difference.
what's synthetic.
Wow. Yeah.
That's got information there.
That does. Yeah.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
And so, what is all the unknowable, unspeakable, unseeable,
Mhm.
untouchable, undetectable, unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, energy fog, disinformation, cloaking, Wernicke's commands, booby traps, covert, unseen, unacknowledged, undisclosed energies and frequencies around all this? Wow.
Yeah.
And can we put all of that in the pile?
Yes, I
Yeah,
choose
I choose
that.
that. Wow. And freeze lock, everything from down below, back behind, up above, way up front, left and right, inside, outside, everything remaining, all in the pile. Bodies let that go, not you, not yours, not you, not yours, never was yours, never you, never yours, never you, never yours, never you.
Oh.
And can we shrink all that stuff down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose
Yeah, I
that.
choose that. And incinerate. Vaporize. And it makes sense that based on what we've been dealing with and interacting with is separating ourselves from the synthetic. It's like, how much is it about us as organic biological beings becoming aware of where is that line between what is organic and supportive, nurturing, and what is synthetic that is almost indistinguishable or has been indistinguishable from organic, but actually is separate from organic. Kind of like our friend, Mr. Geometric Cauliflower.
Yeah. And then so much of the work that we do is being able to discern that. Because like when we first started in this work, or I first started doing that, it's just like I knew part of that, but there's a big chunk where I thought was a contributive part of my world and my life. That was the synthetic.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And over time you just kind of learn that, oh, it's not, but there's so much programming about it that it's like, oh, well, yeah, maybe it is. Like, yeah, Wi-Fi signals
Mhm.
and all those other signals. It's like, well, yeah, there's nothing wrong with those. Yeah, well, my body says something that's different than that.
Mhm. Yeah.
And a lot of that has just been about becoming aware of what is truly authentic biological and what is synthetic.
Mhm.
Maybe it's just the distinction and the getting out of the conditioning around it. And it's like, how much, if we're in an overlapping reality, or we're in a point of the intersection of where biological and synthetic
Mhm.
come together and merge or begin to
Mhm.
penetrate each other, the biotech crossover, then it's about the awareness. It's about the
Well, and it's changing it to use it to your advantage.
mhm.
Because as we're talking about this, I can see the possibility of it being a contribution.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas before, it's like, well, way before I thought, oh, totally a contribution. Now that with more
Yeah, we
awareness,
went
it's
to
like,
the other polarity.
no beeping way. And
Yeah.
then now it's like, oh, well, if we allow technology and AI to progress the way it is, it potentially wouldn't be a contribution, but we can change that.
Right. Right. And
Yeah.
what if, like, what his point of view is that, what if we've jumped into this creation that's partially biological and partially synthetic, and we're trying to write it? Like he said, that what if it's just, like, often people say, well, if it's a program, I just kind of turn it off. Well, there's now so much biological overlap, there's so much biology that's relying on synthetic, that if you just turned it off, that may not be helpful to the biological energies that are here. And his theory or his philosophy is, what if we came here to kind of untangle what is the corruption, what is the virus here, and strip out or separate or pull out the useful synthetic from the interference that's trying to corrupt the whole system and bring the whole system down, or is taking the system apart, or blah 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 blah. But and that blurs me over. So what is all the unknowable, unspeakable, unseeable, untouchable, undetectable, unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, energy fog, disinformation, cloaking, were Nikki's commands, booby traps, covert, unseen, unacknowledged, undisclosed energies and frequencies? Wow, you put all that in the pile.
Yes, I choose that.
I choose that. And down below, back behind, up above, out front, left and right, inside, outside, everything remaining, all in the pile. Bodies, let that go. Not you, not yours, not you, not yours, not yours here, not yours. Never was yours, never was yours, never was yours. Whew. And can we shrink that down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose
I
that.
choose that. Boo. We're sending book, you can't reclaim, vaporize, goodbye, vaporize, goodbye. So what awareness, energy, and frequency can we and our bodies be to use all of this to our authentic advantage and receive?
Receive.
Wow. Wow.
Hmm.
And what fun with all of this is now possible. And receive.
Receive.
Wow. Because that could be what's interesting or fun about this new perspective, is that where before I played in the synthetic, now the synthetic has become so polarized. It's like, no, synthetic bad, out. When it's actually more about awareness of the synthetic and being able to play with that, because when you look at where the trend of all this is going, it's to say that it's not going to go into artificial life and AI and technology and biotech and merging of those together, transhumanism, all those kind of energies. It's like, to say that it's not going to go there, I can't see that anymore. Like, that's, and are there realities where that didn't go there? Sure. I don't think this is one of them.
Right.
So it's like, well, if we're in that, why are we here now? What are we learning? What can we learn from this? What can we do to change this or have input in? Which it's obvious that even AI driven, so people who are programs, who are AI driven, who are the matrix people, like, they're obviously in physical bodies, but they're not they're not playing in the same level of consciousness or awareness. They can be influenced by us.
Yes.
So AI does learn, or the source consciousness here, AI consciousness does learn from us. What is that? How can we use that? What is it we're doing here? and how can we do more of it that would work for us and to our advantage.
Mm-hmm.
And receive.
Yeah, receive. Ooh.
And how can we have more fun with it?
Yes, I choose that.
Receive. I choose that.
Receive. Woo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. 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 And body's staring at what are all the stacks, stringers, hooks, triggers, and implants that we have that are up and active that are not to our advantage? And all the structures, constructs, adaptations, mutations, systems.
Wow.
And can we put all that in the pile?
Yeah, I choose that.
Yeah, I choose it. Wow. Everything down below, left behind, up above, left and right, inside, outside, everything remaining. Body, let that go. Not you, not yours, not you, not yours, not you, not yours, not you, not yours. And can we shrink all that down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose
Yeah,
that.
I choose that. Boo! And incinerate. Resend Voki, can't reclaim, vapor acid, vapor acid, vapor acid.
Whoa. And we haven't done anything around programs. Are those up around this, or is that a different topic?
So are there programs that are in our way of where we're trying to explore here?
I get none, so that doesn't quite.
Almost, well, it feels like we're kind of surfing programs. It doesn't feel like there's anything blocking at the moment.
Okay.
But where it takes me is around, like, how much are our bodies 100% organic biological? And how much are our bodies in some way adaptable or mutable to the synthetic biological? It's like, because we keep clearing where the body seems to be getting body or being seem to be getting too far into the technological because it's not comfortable. And it's like, well, are we taking in, which is where my viewpoint had been, like, I'm a purely biological being and I'm taking in technology and it's fucking with me? Or is it that I'm in an adaptable being that can tune itself from highly organic to highly synthetic, and when we're taking it too far out of a range that's comfortable or workable for us, the infinite being. Yeah, I think I took that too far.
Yeah, because I was like, the body is like going, no, no, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when so everything, all that is in the pile. So what is all the unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, energy fog, disinformation, cloaking, Wernicke's command, booby traps, covert, insane, unacknowledged, undisclosed energies and frequencies around this? Yeah. Ooh. And can we put that in the pile?
Yes, I choose that.
Wow. And everything down below, left behind, up above, left and right, inside, outside, less than nothing. And vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy. So it's like, are those bodies that we see walking around that don't have souls, that are being run by AI consciousness, how much are those bodies the same as our bodies, or are those bodies a little different than our bodies? Are those bodies very different than our bodies? Like, where is that?
Where is that difference?
So when I was asking, so Truth, how much is the body that you have right here and its capacities, how much is it 100% organic biological and 0% technological, and how much is it something else?
Yeah, something else.
So it's like there's some Yeah. So what is all that?
And everything that is, you just remove and destroy.
So what
all
is
that.
everything that's up and active that brings up?
Yeah. Wow.
Wow. And in the pile? And all the unknowable, unspeakable, unseeable, untouchable, undetectable, unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, energy fog, disinformation, cloaking, Wernicke's commands, bootstraps, covert, unseen, unacknowledged, undisclosed energy and frequencies. Wow. And all that in the pile?
Yes.
And down below, back behind, up above, oh, left, right, inside, outside, everything remaining, all in the pile. Bodies, let that go. Not you, not yours, not you, not yours, not you, not yours. Let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. Oh, and can we shrink that down to less than nothing?
Yes,
I choose that. Boo. And incinerate. Vapor, sick by, no, wait, no, wait, no. I kind of took over, so I want to give you space to what is that?
Yeah. No, I think like, you know, the part that was coming up with that is asking things about body slightly differently, you know. So maybe I was playing more on the, you know, 100% organic or how much is contributive technology.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that has more of a read for me.
So it's like I look at how much, like when we were exploring with identities, how comfortable the body is. Comfortable isn't necessarily the right word. How dynamic the body is in terms of being able to take in other identities and become those. I mean, it's so easy to hang out with other people we know, and then we find hours after we've left them, we're still acting like they are, and we've kind of embodied that. And it doesn't feel unusual. It doesn't feel strange for a while. It's like, and then at some point you're like, wait a minute, this isn't me.
Yeah.
But it's the being that's like, it's not me. The body's like, cool, we're just doing this. You know, it's like the body seems so adaptable and chameleon-like and so flexible that it's like, well, how flexible is it? How adaptable is it? And where into that range of synthetic adaptability is our body? Does our body have the capacity to go?
Okay, and I think that's where we're getting tangled up in.
Okay.
Because does the body have the capacity to go way over here into synthetic? I get yes. Does body want to do that? Fuck no. It's just like,
does body want to do that because it's embodying you as the driver, the infinite organic being as a co-creator with that body? So body's like, no, that's not acceptable because it would not support your life.
Okay.
So he talks about in there of that there are bodies that are non-player characters that are basically run by AI consciousness that could be containers that biological beings do walk-ins into.
Okay.
And while that whole walk-in thing is still a little bit blurry for me, as much as we've played in looking at it all different ways, it's like the body does seem to have that capacity to do that.
Right. Well, there's a difference between a capacity and a preference.
Well, is the preference the body's preference at its core, or is it
a different way then?
Okay.
You know, does Drake truth body? Do you want to be 100% synthetic, or be in 100% synthetic reality?
Yeah. See, I think that's not
okay. Well, we're kind of we're talking around something that we're not quite.
Yeah. So let me try to. Yeah. So what is it? All the unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, anti-fog, disinformation, cloaking, Wernicke's commands, booby traps, covert, unseen, unacknowledged, undisclosed energies and frequencies around this.
Yeah.
And, wow. Can we put that in the pile?
Yes, I choose that.
And what is everything that we're aligning and agreeing with? And everything we're resisting and reacting to? And everything we're defending for? and everything we're defending against. Wow. And everything we're righteous for, and everything we're righteous against. Wow.
That's big.
Can we put all that in the pile?
Yes, I choose that.
Wow. And everything down below, back behind, up above. Wow. From front, left, from the right, inside, outside, everything remaining, all in the pile. Body, let that go. Not you, not yours, not you, not yours. And can we shrink all that down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose
Yeah, I choose that. And incinerate. We're sending okay, can't reclaim. Banish that, Chris, banish that, Chris, banish that, banish that, Chris, banish that. Blah, 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 blah. Wow. So it's like, I don't want to add too many other paradigms to it, but it's like if your body's like a planet, it's has this capacity to host other life. And when you, the infinite being, come in and associate with this body, it's like your body is now like, I'm aligned with this host.
Oh, imprinted. Right.
So yeah, or even imprinted. It's like, so my variability is now limited to within the range of what Max is comfortable or interested in exploring with. So it's like so body is no longer just body, it's now body and Max.
Okay, I get where you're going now.
So when I'm looking at bodies, I'm thinking of independent of the being Jaden being here or Max being here. It's like, does this body have the capacity to host purely synthetic AI technological consciousness? And it feels on the light-ish side. Like it's not 100%, but it's like,
right. And that's where I was kind of going before, is it's like, yes, it can body totally can do that.
Yeah.
But body doesn't prefer that. And so
body can't do that right now. So the question is, does body not prefer? So the question is, does body not prefer that? Or does body that's now hosting you not prefer that?
Well, definitely body hosting me doesn't prefer that.
Right.
But the question is then how do you ask body to, from that space?
So body, Max body, if you weren't hosting Max, would you have a preference to whether you'd be hosting an purely organic life form or an AI life form? Yeah, it'd have a preference. How much would want to host a purely organic? How much would it want to host more of a synthetic?
I get more on the organic and not too much read on the more synthetic.
See, and I get more read on the synthetic. So how much is this too organic for the body? How much are we stretching the body beyond its, like, how much are we, the infinite being, the organic being, stretching the body organically?
Okay, that has a read to it.
Like it's more designed to be in the programmed range, but it has the capacity to stretch into the biological range.
Yeah, what this is bringing up for me is what a naturopath and energy doctor that I work with talks about, is that bodies like to be in a certain range. They almost don't care what that range is, but they want to be in that range. And when they get out of it, even if it's even getting too happy and too joyful, if they're not used to that, they don't like that. They want to go back to this place.
Right.
And so the part that's coming up for that, which might be mine, but it still is just like, oh, well, a more synthetic being would have a more defined range, where we as infinite beings are pulling it all. It was like one day we're like way super happy, and other days we're like, oh fuck, let's end this life.
Yep. And that would be a stretch for a body. And there's no no doubt that I have
Wow.
stretched this body.
Yeah. Wow.
No
Yeah.
question, I have stretched
Yeah.
this body.
Body is just like, you know, feeling that acknowledgement that body's been stretched. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Wow.
So what is all the unknowable, unspeakable, unseeable, untouchable, undetectable, unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, energy fog, disinformation, cloaking, Wernicke's commands, booby traps, covert, unseen, unacknowledged, undisclosed energies and frequencies around all this?
Wow.
Wow. And can we put all that in the pile?
Yes, I choose
Yeah, I choose that. Wow. And everything down below, back behind, up above, way up front, from the left, from the right, from inside, outside, everything remaining, all in the pile, on the pile. Wow. And body let it go, not you, not yours, not you, not yours, not you, not yours. And can we shrink all that down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose
Yeah,
that.
I choose that.
And body
And center it.
Oh.
We're sending book, you can't reclaim vapor, I sick my null void banish. Wow.
Mm.
I feel like we've hit the
The sweet spot.
yeah, like not adding more, but just kind of cleaning up and wrapping up.
That sounds good.
Yeah, there's like a yes, like something's landed here, even if I
Yeah.
can't quite define 100% what that is. It opened up a whole shitload of doors.
Oh, it sure did. It sure did.
Wow.
And it's a really light place to be too.
Mhm.
Even with all this stuff that potentially could be, you know, you make lots of significance around all the things that we tapped into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 So, what is everything now? So, what's the most fun way to get from where we are? What I want to do is, how can we integrate this in the most fun way? What can we clear? What can we receive that would allow all of this to integrate and receive
to your authentic advantage.
to our authentic advantage? Right.
Ooh, there we go. Receive. Ooh.
And now it's interesting, even now I would ask, to whose authentic advantage? I would say to body's authentic advantage and to infinite being's authentic advantage and receive.
Yeah, receive.
Whoa, that totally does different stuff. That's interesting. Wow, okay. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So what is everything that's up or active that would not be a contribution to authentic body or authentic being?
Woo.
Wow. And can we put all that in the pile?
Yeah, I choose that.
I choose that. Wow. And what are all the oaths, vows, commitments, communities, fealties, agreements, promises, entry, exit agreements, divine, golden, billion, trillion agreements, safety clauses, protection clauses, allegiances, alliances, loyalties, diplomatic relations around all this? Wow. And put all that in the pile?
Yes, I choose that.
What are all the binds, double binds, triple binds, quadruple binds, binds, to infinitum, auto installer, reinstaller, backup systems, technologies, magics, anchors, signatories? Wow. Put all that in the pile. Wow. And wow. And everything down below. But and actually all the unknowable, unspeakable, unseeable, untouchable, undetectable, unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, energy fog, disinformation, cloaking, Wernicke's man's booby traps, covert, unseen, unacknowledged, undisclosed energies and frequencies all in the pile.
Yeah.
Wow. And down below, back behind, up above, way out front, left and right, inside, outside, everything remaining, all in the pile, body, take a step back from that. Not you, not yours, not you, not yours. Let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. There we go. And can we shrink all this stuff down to less than nothing? And destroy and create agreements. Yeah, I choose that. And
we revoke, we can't renounce, make null and void, make null and void.
Resend, revoke, we can't reclaim, renounce, destroy and create, make null and void, null 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 void,
Woo.
null void, null void. And what are all the entities, demonic creatures, coalition aliens, reptilians, parasitic beings, doing gods, other non-contributive energies and frequencies, pre-tag, pre-encapsulate all, freeze, tap down, trace, scan, they all, networks, hive, civilizations, universes, their customers, clients, shareholders, stockholders, boards of directors. Where were we when all these energies were created, assembled, modified, gilded, sourced at their inception, insertion, creation, copy, cloning, other? Those all make a whole lot more sense now, don't they?
They sure do.
Pre-tag,
Yeah.
pre-encapsulate all, freeze, tap down, trace, scan, they all, pre-tag, pre-encapsulate all. And can we banish all these energies?
Yes, I choose that.
Yes, I choose that. And out.
Banish from all beings,
Banish,
bodies,
banish,
realities,
out.
universes.
Banish,
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 vanquish,
banish,
banish,
out.
vanquish, vanquish,
Banish,
vanquish,
banish,
vanquish.
and out. Banish, vanquish, banish, and out. Banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish, banish. Resend the book you can't reclaim, null and void, null and void. Out. Banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish. Man, that got quieter. Wow. And what are all the programs that are up, active, or engaged that are not to authentic body or authentic beings advantage? And let's put all those in the pile in front, lock them on the screen, and everything down below, back behind, up above, way out front, from the left, from the right, inside, outside, everything remaining, freeze lock. Wow. And all intercessions exterminate here now.
All intercessions exterminate here now.
All intercommunications exterminate here now.
All intercommunications exterminate here now.
Wow. Wow. All interconnections exterminate here now.
All interconnections exterminate here now.
All programs terminate here now.
All programs terminate here now.
Wow. All programs exterminate here now.
All programs exterminate here now.
Oh. Wow. Wow. Each one of those was like whoosh. And I just have to strip out all this program, the power supplies, reprogram them so they can only be used to your advantage. And infinite being or body, authentic body and infinite being. What is everything that you desire or require that you can purchase using these power supplies?
Yes, I choose that.
And allow yourself to receive the goods from those vendors to your advantage only, or always to your advantage. Woo. Wow. And if you like the goods, pay off the vendors with the power supplies. Anything remaining, put them in a personal safe. Unlock it. Wow. Wow. And wow. And everything remaining, can we destroy and create a?
Yes, I choose that.
I choose that. Boom. And incinerate. Wow. And what is everything we'd clear if we were to spend a whole hour clearing to our local advantage?
Wow.
Ooh. Wow. And put all that in the pile.
Yes.
Down below, back behind, up above, way out front, left and right, inside, outside, everything remaining. Take a step back, body. Let that go. Not you, not yours, not you, not you, not yours, not yours. And can we shrink all that stuff down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose.
Yes, I choose that. And incinerate. Resend book you can't reclaim. Null and void, null and void. Banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish, banish, vanquish, null void, null void, null void. Wow.
Yeah.
And what is everything we'd receive if we were to spend a whole hour receiving to our authentic body and our local authentic body and our being's advantage and receive. Wow. 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 And what is everything we'd receive if what is everything what is everything that the authentic what is everything the bio there's so much energy moving, it's hard to use my words. What is everything that the authentic biotic planet desires or requires and allows planet to receive?
Receive.
Wow. 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 And what else is now possible? And receive.
Receive.
Wow. Wow. And what else is now possible? And receive.
What else is now possible? Receive.
Wow. Wow. And what else is now possible? And receive.
Receive.
Wow. Well, a big thanks to Chris Geo for opening up these topics for us. And thank you, Max, and thank you everybody who came here to play. Wow,
Thanks, everyone.
There's certainly a what else is possible going on now. And I don't know, there's a lot, everything just makes more sense in some way that I have difficulty defining. Do you have a feeling of that? Wow.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's like, I mean, if I think about it, it makes more sense. But just now, it just feels like, oh, interesting. It's like this understanding without having to understand.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. And we like that.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Yay. Cool.
Cool. All right.
Cool. Thank you, Max.
Thank you, Jaden. Until
Thank you,
next
everybody.
time.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.